Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our daily Bookish Brain Break, the second in our summertime fun book series. Today, we are going to be talking about one of, for a lot of people, the most essential parts of summer: tents, being out in the woods, s'mores. Oh, yeah, we're going camping today, and we're going to be reading the story of Carlos and Carmen, Campout. Now, Carlos and Carmen are a pair of Hispanic twins, and they do speak Spanish a little bit throughout the story. So, again, I am sorry for my Spanish, but I love that they sprinkle in some Spanish words through this story. It's really cool. So, today, let's go camping with Carlos and Carmen. This story is by Kristen McDonald and illustrated by Fatima Ayana, and it's published by Abdo Books. Chapter 1. Ready. Carlos and Carmen sat on their front porch. They saw red cars and silver cars. They even saw a pink moped. Finally, they saw Tio Alex's blue car. They jumped off the porch and raced to the car. "Tio Alex!" the twins yelled. "Hey, niños!" said Tio Alex. "Is it true?" the twins shouted. "Are we going camping?" Carmen asked excitedly. "In a tent?" Carlos added. "In the woods?" Carmen finished. Tio Alex scooped up the twins in a hug. He laughed and said, "The answers are yes, 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 and maybe. So go pack your mochilas." So Tio means uncle, basically, in Spanish. And I wonder what a mochilas is. Carlos and Carmen raced to their rooms and got their backpacks. They packed their pillows and pajamas. They packed their fluffies and flashlights. Mama and Papa came upstairs. "Got room for these?" Mama asked. She held up a bag of marshmallows. "And what about these?" asked Papa. He held up a box of graham crackers and some chocolate bars. "Hooray!" said the twins. "S'mores!" The twins added the food to their backpacks. They grabbed their sleeping bags and backpacks and hurried downstairs. "We're ready," said Carlos and Carmen. "Well, what are we waiting for?" said Tio Alex. "Vámonos!" The twins tossed their things into the car. They scrambled into the back seat. "See you mañana," Carmen shouted to her parents. "Take care of Spooky," Carlos added. "Have fun," Mama and Papa replied, and everyone waved as the car drove down the street. Chapter 2. Trees or lake? The twins and Tio Alex drove and drove. Finally, Tio Alex turned into a small road. They drove under a sign. It said, "Welcome to Blue Lake Campground." "Hooray!" shouted the twins. "We're here!" "So, niños," said Tio Alex, "should we camp under the trees or by the lake?" "By the lago," said Carmen. At the same time, Carlos said, "Under the arboles." It was a problem. A one tent, two campsites problem. The twins looked at each other. "We can camp where you want," said Carlos. "No," said Carmen. "Let's camp where you want." Let's see, we've got lago and arboles. Good thing the illustration shows us what both those words mean. Tio Alex shook his head and smiled. "Which is it going to be, niños?" he asked. "Arboles or lago?" The twins looked out across the water. And there, on the other side of the lake, they saw it. The perfect campsite. "Mira!" the twins shouted and pointed at the perfect campsite. "By the lago," said Carmen. "And under the arboles," added Carlos. Tio Alex looked where the twins were pointing. "It's perfect," said Tio Alex. "Vámonos!" Chapter 3. A perfect campsite. At the perfect campsite, they set up the green tent. They put their backpacks and sleeping bags inside it. Under a tree, they spread out a blanket. They set their picnic basket in the middle. "Can we go play in the lago now?" the twins asked. "And skip rocks?" Carmen said. "And hunt for tadpoles?" Carlos said. And catch turtles? Carmen said. Tio Alex laughed and said, yes, 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 and maybe. Then Tio Alex added, I have a sorpresa for you. He gave them each a net. Hooray! Said Carlos. Nets for catching tadpoles! Double hooray! Said Carmen. Nets for catching turtles! Who's the third net for? Asked Carlos. For me, of course, said Tio Alex. Carlos, Carmen, and Tio Alex walked down a path to the lake. They spent the rest of the day playing at the water's edge. They found sparkly rocks and caught floating leaves. They found a bird's nest and deer's hoof print. They even saw a turtle, but he was too far away to catch. Finally, Tio Alex said, Okay, niños, it's time for supper. Vámonos, said Carmen. Carlos, Carmen, and Tio Alex walked back to their perfect campsite. But when they got there, it wasn't so perfect anymore. Chapter 4, A Sweet Supper. The campsite was a mess. The basket was turned over. The cookies and sandwiches were chomped. They saw tiny paw prints everywhere. I wonder what happened. Then something small fell out of the tree. It bounced off Tio Alex's head, and it plopped to the ground in front of the twins. It looks like a piece of sandwich crust, said Carlos. It is a piece of sandwich crust, said Carmen. The twins looked up. High in the branches, they saw 2 masked faces. They also saw 2 ringed tails. Raccoons! Carmen shouted. Mira, Tio Alex, Carlos said. Raccoons stole our supper! Well, I love how Carlos and Carmen used some of their prior knowledge to figure out what animals these were. Masked faces, ringed tails. Tio Alex laughed and shook his head. I guess we're out of food and should go back home. Carlos looked sadly at Carmen, and Carmen looked sadly at Carlos. Suddenly, they both smiled. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? They said. And because they were twins, they were. The twins ran to the tent and grabbed their backpacks. Then they ran back to Tio Alex. We have a sorpresa for you, the twins said. They unzipped their backpacks. What do you think the surprise is going to be? Mira, Carlos said, holding up the bag of marshmallows. And double mira, said Carmen. She gave the graham crackers to Tio Alex and held up the chocolate bars. Together, the twins shouted, S'mores! Tio Alex looked at the twins. He looked at their supplies. He laughed. It looks like we'll be having supper after all. And manada for breakfast, said Carmen, turning to her twin. And they both shouted, We can have some more! So, because we added in some really nifty Spanish words, we do have a little bit of a glossary here in the back. Now, even though they don't tell us how to say the words, that's a pronunciation guide when they give you that. They do tell you what all the words mean. But one of the best parts about this story is using the story, the illustrations, the things that are going on in earlier parts of the text, the words that you read, you can pretty much always figure it out. So I hope you enjoyed our little camping trip today. Now, doesn't sound like the weather's going to be that great for camping for the next day or two where we live in Wisconsin, but hey, doesn't mean you can't get out camping another time. I hope you join me again soon for our next summertime fun, Bookish Brain Break. Have a great day.